So here we are, next episode of History on Foot with Unearthed, and we are privileged to be at the wonderful Dalton Castle, and here it is. More of a peel tower than a castle. These were defensive structures that were built during troublesome times. The monks from Furness Abbey, if you looked and remember the last film that we did on History on Foot, well, Furness Abbey, the monks from there actually built this, and this was their courthouse. Rather than having their affairs, law, issues and such like at the Abbey, they had it here at Dalton, which is a few miles away. Now, this particular structure, as you can see, is an impressive peel tower rather than a castle. You've got some like gargoyles up the top there. There was probably one on that corner and other corners. Built in the 14th century to help the Dalton people. And here's Dalton marketplace. To help the people in Dalton get away from the troublesome Scots that raided. We know they raided Dalton in around about 1322 and I think 1306. So let's have a look in more detail at this wonderful place. And there's the old Union Jack. It hasn't been altered that much. It's actually standing on the present site. It's pretty much looking as it did in the 14th century. This is different to the Abbey because it's a mixture of limestone and sandstone. Now, what I can tell you about this, which I find pretty impressive, is some of the walls are up to 6 feet thick. I mean, can you imagine 6 feet thick? It's actually got a jail, a dungeon, because not only was it the place of administration for the monks, it was also the place of law. So if there's any people in Dalton way back then that were playing up, then they got thrown in there. And equally impressive as that, I think, there was a site here before that. There was something, a building here before this one. Now we know the monks have a set of stocks here to keep people in around about 1257, which is probably 100 years earlier than this. So yeah, quite an impressive structure. The National Trust own it now. It fell into private hands at some point in the last century, and now current ownership is the National Trust, who do a great job. It's not open at the moment for obvious reasons, but from sort of Easter time onwards it's open right through to October. So yes, the impressive peel tower at Dalton. Now, while we're here, this is Market Square. There's the current cross, and there's Melanie hiding in the hiding out the way. There was an ancient cross before that one, which was obviously, this is the market area where Dalton had its market once a week in ancient times. And as you can see, some of these old houses are rather impressive, really impressive. Some of them have got date stones on, 1680. Now, the layout of Dalton itself is pretty much unchanged from the medieval layout down into Market Street, and obviously it was built on and on and on in Victorian times, but it's a very historic place, is Dalton. It was the ancient capital of Furness. What must lay under these cobbles? I can only guess. So if we have another look at the peel tower itself, rather impressive structure, I would say. Now, what's also interesting about this is it's long gone now, sadly, but there was other wooden buildings built onto the side and front of Dalton Castle, and I have got an image. I'm going to show you that image now so you can see the image. And you'll be impressed to see how these ancient structures worked. So let's just have a look around the side, and I'm going to show you some more interesting features in this area of Dalton. Keep watching. And here we are at the north side of the castle. As you can see, another gateway there. The main doorway is around the corner where we first started the film. So it gives you an idea of the structure itself. Like I said, there's different floors. There's a bit of a little museum going on in there now, but the dungeon still can be seen, which is a really deep pit under here. Very impressive. So yes, in times of trouble, when Robert the Bruce's men raided Furness, the locals would have come in here for some sort of protection. So let's move on now to Dalton Church, which is equally impressive and has got equally amount of history to it, if not more. So here we are, everybody. We're back in Dalton churchyard now. I'm just going to show you this, because in the churchyard is my mother's memorial chair, seat, bench. So yes, brings back fond memories of my mother, who died around about 20 years ago. So her bench is up here, which is nice, and I only live 2 minutes away, so it's nice to know that her bench is here in memory of her. But there we can have a look at Dalton Church, folks. This is the churchyard. Now this is a prominent feature, actually. Before this church was built, there was an earlier church, which was 12th century, and historians do think that because it's the ancient capital of Furness, Dalton, that the church, the original church here, could have been much older. Talking 10th century, 9th century, a place of worship being here. As you can see, it's a Victorian now, and it's a rather impressive structure, but the earlier church was built of sandstone, and I think it was a better looking church, the older one. I do. Now, so, Dalton Church, the site that it's built is on a prominent hillside, and there's been talk over the centuries from historians that there was a Roman site here. Now they did do some digging. They got down to about 6 or 7 feet down. They found a lot of shale, they found shells, they found remains of habitation, but they didn't find any Roman evidence. So the jury's out, were the Romans here, were they not? I have to say they pretty much were, and we know this because detectorists on the fields surrounding, including myself, have found evidence of Roman material. So a couple of 100 yards that way as the crow flies, in some of the fields, we've found Roman evidence. I found a Roman brooch there. So that proves, amongst other items, including coins, that the Romans were here. So a very interesting place. So we think there's been a Roman site, or an ancient site, on here, because it's such a prominent site. You can oversee everything, long before the place of worship came to be. So there we are. I'm going to take you around now and show you the underneath of the church tower, so keep watching. So everybody, before I do show you the tower, we're overlooking now the ancient part of Goose Green, and my house is just down there. My old garden was down here, and some of the fields where I've been finding the odd Roman brooch and coin are just in this corner to the right hand side. So there has been Roman material on these fields, absolutely 100%. As you can see, it's got a prominent vantage point, and for locals that are interested, you can see the garage over there, which is now not used, but on the left hand side of the garage in the wood there's an ancient well, medieval well. It's been blocked off long ago, but that's where one of the sources of water came to be for the locals. That's an ancient well. So yeah, it's an impressive place. I mean, with these trees out the way, and I mean, in the olden days they would have cut these trees right back for a vantage point. It's quite an impressive lookout up here. You can see why this prominent hillside would have been an important feature in the olden days. So there we have it. Right, we're going to go and have a look at the church tower now. Keep watching. So here we are, everybody, at the tower. As you can see, it's bloody high up there. On the vantage point, you can actually go up there from time to time if you're lucky, and the view is unbelievable. Morecambe Bay, Duddon Estuary, the Abbey, parts of Barrow in Furness even. Whether you want to see that or not, I don't know, but the view from up there is rather impressive. And of course, this is an old route, that led from the castle, where we've just been, and obviously the church, and it winds its way all the way down back to Furness Abbey. So there you can see the impressive Dalton Church. Even though it's Victorian, you've got to remember there was a much earlier structure here. Lightning conductor, look. So yes, a heck of a lot of history around here. The last view of it, oh, it goes up, doesn't it? Look at that. Prominent feature of the landscape. And guess what? You wouldn't believe it. Here comes my cat, Baz. You wouldn't believe it, would you? All the way up here, look. What are you doing here, Baz? Never really ventures out. He must have known we were up here. It's not Baz Mel, is it? Or is it? Yeah, it is Baz. It looked a little bit lighter coloured, alright, Baz? Yeah. For a second, because I was looking through the screen at him. Anyway, Baz visits the castle, look. And the church. Right, okay, I hope you found that of use. Thanks for watching.